Leo stared at the cold glow of his phone screen, his thumb hovering over his banking app. The number read $10,004. He had spent 18 grueling months skipping dinners out, working late-night freelance gigs, and saying no to his friends just to hit this milestone. But as he sat in his dark kitchen, he did not feel rich. He felt empty. The 10 grand milestone, which once sounded like a fortune, felt like a joke. Why did this hard-won cash feel so completely insignificant? He had completely misunderstood what this money was actually for. If you've ever reached a money goal and still felt behind, Leo's story will explain why. To understand why $10,000 feels like pocket change, you have to look at how Leo got here. Let's go back to a rainy night 3 months ago. Leo is sitting at his laminate kitchen table, sipping cheap, lukewarm coffee. The apartment is quiet, save for the annoying buzz of an old refrigerator. Spread out before him is a laptop screen displaying a spreadsheet of his monthly expenses alongside 3 paper bills stamped "Past Due." Every month is a high-stakes game of financial survival. He earns a decent salary as a junior graphic designer, but the money seems to vaporize the moment it hits his account. Rent, groceries, student loans, and that unavoidable car payment consume 95% of his income. He is living paycheck to paycheck, a single flat tire away from complete collapse, driven by a low-grade dread that has become his daily companion. He tells himself that if he can just save a little bit, things will change. The descent begins on a Friday afternoon, when reality cracks open his defenses. Driving home from a grueling 10-hour shift, a harsh, metallic grinding noise erupts from beneath his car's hood. When the mechanic hands him the estimate, $1,400 for a new transmission and brake rotors, Leo feels a physical punch to his gut. He doesn't have the cash. He is forced to slide his high-interest credit card across the counter, knowing he can only pay the minimum balance. This single breakdown triggers a financial domino effect. The next month, the bill arrives with an added 24% interest charge, eating away the tiny bit of breathing room he had left. Every purchase now carries a premium, a penalty for being broke. Now, the stakes shift from financial to deeply social. His sister announces her wedding in Colorado, a gathering the entire family has planned for a year. But plane tickets, a hotel room, and a modest gift will cost at least $800. Leo stands in his bathroom, looking at his tired reflection in the cracked mirror, and makes the agonizing decision to text his sister a lie about a critical work conflict. The guilt is a heavy weight in his chest. He watches his family's laughing photos populate the group chat while he sits alone in his apartment eating boxed mac and cheese, feeling utterly disconnected and isolated from the people who love him most. Then, the escalation hits his professional identity. Because he has absolutely zero financial runway, he cannot afford to say no to anyone. His manager at the agency notices this vulnerability and begins piling on uncompensated weekend work. When Leo tries to gently set a boundary, his boss casually mentions how easily replaceable junior designers are in this economy. Leo's stomach churns with fear. Desperate for extra cash to pay off the credit card, he signs a contract with a toxic freelance client who demands constant revisions and calls him at midnight to scream about font sizes. Leo is trapped in a vicious cycle, sacrificing his mental health and self-respect just to keep his head above water. Financial insecurity is not just an empty bank account, it is a total lack of options. He has saved a few $1,000s by now, but constant emergencies keep dragging him back to zero. He feels like he is running on a financial treadmill that is slowly speeding up, waiting for the moment his legs finally give out. How do you build a future when the present keeps dragging you back to zero? Ask yourself this: if your paycheck disappeared today, how many months could you stay calm? For Leo, the honest answer was almost zero. And that was when he realized he had been measuring money the wrong way. He had been looking at his savings all wrong. Like most people, he thought $10,000 was supposed to generate impressive income or make him feel wealthy. But $10,000 doesn't make you rich. At 4%, $10,000 only produces about $40 a month. So if you judge it by income, it looks almost useless. The breakthrough came when Leo discovered the concept of financial thermal mass. A small cup of water left outside on a freezing night turns solid by morning. But a deep lake beside it stays liquid because it has mass. It can absorb the cold without changing state. $10,000 is your financial thermal mass. $10,000 doesn't make you rich. It keeps you liquid. It exists to absorb the random, chaotic shocks of the physical world. Consider how this changes everything when life happens. Same broken car, same mechanic, same bill. But this time, Leo didn't reach for a credit card. He reached for his own money. The emotional drama is gone. The panic is gone. Having a buffer also slowly removes the hidden fees of being broke. Being broke has a tax. You pay fees when your balance drops too low. You pay interest because you had no choice. You buy the cheapest version of things, then pay again when they break. Once Leo had a buffer, he could finally stop paying extra just for being vulnerable. By simply having money, he was suddenly spending less money to exist. The most profound shift, however, was psychological. It was the birth of walkaway power. With $10,000 in the bank, Leo had roughly 4 months of living expenses covered. He was no longer desperate. This completely transformed his behavior at work. The next time his manager tried to pressure him into working an unpaid weekend with a veiled threat about his job security, Leo didn't feel that sickening knot of panic in his stomach. He looked his boss in the eye and calmly said, "I can't work this weekend, but I will be fully focused on this project first thing Monday morning." His boss paused. The threat didn't land the way it used to. For the first time, Leo wasn't negotiating from fear. Money didn't make Leo louder. It made him harder to scare. With this newfound confidence, Leo took the ultimate step. He fired his toxic freelance client. He sent a polite, brief email terminating the contract, freeing up 15 hours of his week. Instead of using that time to panic, he used it to rest, sleep 8 hours a night, and polish his design portfolio. The $10,000 hadn't automatically created a new job, but it bought him the time, the mental clarity, and the capacity to prepare properly. Over time, that portfolio opened doors Leo had been too exhausted to knock on before. Eventually, he found a better agency, one that paid more and respected personal boundaries. To protect this buffer, Leo followed 3 simple rules. First, keep the money separate, far enough away that touching it takes effort. Second, don't spend it on lifestyle. It is a survival buffer, not a reward fund. Third, automate the build, so saving doesn't depend on daily willpower. He stopped measuring his financial progress by how much stuff he could buy, and started measuring it by how many months of freedom he owned. It was the difference between asking for permission to survive and finally having room to choose. Today, Leo sits in that same kitchen, but the atmosphere is entirely different. The old, buzzing refrigerator is still there, and the apartment hasn't changed, but the red-stamped past-due bills are gone. In their place is a clean wooden table and a warm cup of coffee. He is not rich by Wall Street standards. He has peace of mind. He has options. The world didn't become easier. Leo simply stopped being so easy to break. Be honest. What number would make you feel safe for the first time? This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Outcomes vary based on your situation.